space and be here. So we'll start with our CARs, which is controlled articular rotation. So when we talk about our joints and each specific joint in our body, they all need different things. We lubricate our joints through motion. And I feel like Kinstretch and FRC just kind of pulls together the best parts of Pilates and yoga and gives us a way to access it daily and at home. So we're going to get started. Let's go ahead. Let's stand up. Let me try it. Oh, I want to introduce Lisa. For those of you that don't know Lisa, Lisa is a dear friend and amazing body worker and yoga, FRC, Kinstretch teacher. We don't know what to call ourselves anymore these days. So body mechanic, movement technician, whatever. It's fun. So Lisa teaches here and teaches massage, and she just got her Kinstretch certification, so she's gonna be starting some classes here as well. So this is a great way to introduce yourself to it, just to kind of get an idea. And you can do this stuff at home. I'm gonna give you the password for the videos that I made, so you can go and do this routine, this 20-minute. It's gonna take us a little longer because we're gonna break it down, but this is the morning routine. So morning routine, ideally, you want to do it every day in the morning. Who has an ideal life here? Okay. So don't be a stickler. You can do it. You can do wrist when you feel like wrist. You can do neck when you feel like neck. You can do ankle or knee when you're standing in line or you have a minute. You know, just thinking about your body, becoming more aware of how your joints work and giving them the nutrition that they need through movement. So starting with the neck, and this is something that we did in Pilates, that it's joint disassociation, right? It's stabilizing one joint while moving another, and that's what can really improve the health of your joints. So when we go through some of these movements, especially getting into the harder stuff, we're going to talk about concepts like irradiation, like increasing tension through your body. And so what we're doing is we're stabilizing one part of our body so that we can move another one by itself. So we'll talk about irradiation. Something else we're going to talk about is closing angle pinching. So as we go through these CARs routines, this morning routine, if you feel pinching in one side of the joint on the movement, say for instance, we're going to start with neck. The closing angle is here, right? When we're back here, this is our closing angle. If you feel pinching in that area, do not push into it. And that goes for any of the exercises that we do in here. Do not push into pinching pain. Go around it, decrease your range of motion. That's your body telling you that there's something going on in that area. It's nothing that you need to be afraid of. It's just something that you can recognize. And that's why I love this stuff, because this is a self-assessment tool as well. So if something doesn't feel right in your neck in the morning and you go through your CARs, which is what we're about to do, and you feel that, then you're aware of it. What's going on with that? Maybe I need to go see my therapist. Maybe I need to get help if it's lasted for a few days. Maybe I just need to baby it. Be a little gentle with it, but pay attention to it, right? Not to be afraid. So let's start with neck. Let's get into it. So as we go through neck, you want to irradiate tension in your body about 10 to 30%. So we want to keep things stiff, nice and strong. Because when we do our neck, we don't want T-spine getting in the way. So let's all start by tucking our chin down, lengthening the back of the neck. Now imagine that you're tracing the collar of your t-shirt with your chin as you bring your chin over your right shoulder. And you can go to the left, it doesn't matter. Just do the other one later. Then you're going to drop that ear to the shoulder, lifting the chin up, and then coming around that circle. Now this movement is feeling like you're moving through thick peanut butter. Right? It's not easy. We're not just rolling our neck around. We're going to keep moving through it, keeping our shoulders strong, pressing down through the floor. I like to inhale as we come up and we open, and then exhale as we carve, trying to rotate as much as you can to the other side, then tucking that chin down, really trying to get that high neck t-shirt with your chin. So keep moving at your own pace, but it shouldn't be a quick circle, right? We're not just hanging. If we hang, I mean, this feels great, sure, but we're not exploring, we're not understanding what's going on in our neck. And so watching out for closing angle pinching. We'll go one more in this direction. Tucking your chin, coming down through the front. So stopping in the front and then reversing. So chin tucked in. Feel the opening in the back of the neck. You should always feel a stretch through the opening side and possibly some work through the closing side. So lifting through the chin, feeling that stretch through the front of the neck. Tucking the chin. If it's easy and you feel really light in your neck, you need to add some more tension to it. We want to feel what's going on. Carving out the joint. One more in this direction. And then coming back through center. So you can do the neck in any position. You don't have to be standing. If you're sitting at your desk, you can change your posture and do some neck carves. If you're driving in your car and you're stuck in traffic, you can do some neck carves, right? Just stabilize your shoulders, stabilize your upper spine. We're going to go into the T-spine. So we're going to take our block and hug it. And you don't have to have a block. I just feel like it's helpful when you're first learning. You can do this seated. You can do this anywhere. You don't have to have a block or standing. So what we're working on here is our thoracic spine. So it's above this point, below this point. So we don't have to worry too much about what the neck's doing. But I want you to hug your block in tight, and we're even feeling like we're protracting our shoulders a little bit, like pulling them forward, because that is going to help us curl. So you're going to nod your chin and curl forward in that upper back. We're not coming all the way down into lumbar. We want to stay strong in our legs, belly drawing in. Think about dinosaur spikes in your upper spine. You're trying to shove your dinosaur spikes all the way to the sky. Then we're going to rotate as much as we can. So just a rotation, but think about both of your hip points staying pointed forward. So from that curl forward, then we rotate, then we side bend. So it's going to be dropping that shoulder off to the side, and then opening up through the sternum and the collarbones. You can still look forward, so you don't have to open your neck. And then coming around to the other side, rotating back into it more, and then curling forward and coming back through center. If you need help or you have a question, because you're not understanding it, stop me. But we'll keep going this direction. We're going to go for 3. So it's curling forward, rotating as much as you can, max out rotation, then drop the shoulder. Yeah, side bend, good. Open the sternum, open the rib cage. Side bend to the other side first, then rotate into it a little further. That's it. Curl that spine forward as you come back through. Rounding, rounding, rounding. Yeah. One more. So 3 in this direction. Legs are strong. Pelvis is still. This is actually easier to do when you're seated, but we're doing it like this. So drop the shoulder, rotate more into it, and then keep curling forward back through center. That was 3. So going the opposite direction now. Think about your sternum and your rib cage gliding down, like you're trying to stick your ribs into your front pockets. Then rotate as far as you can in the other direction. Then side bend as much as you can, dropping the shoulder to the ground, making a candy cane with your spine. Good. Then opening up sternum to sky, rotating around to the other side. So we side bend as we come to the other side. Then we add a rotation in. Rotating, rotating, and curling forward. We have one more in this direction, right? So rotating, side bending, opening up, extension. So if you feel this in your low back, you can limit your range, or you can practice it seated. Then dropping down, side bend, then rotate, and curl forward. So the other thing about cars is that we're learning about our body. So the first few times that you do these, and even the first few weeks, I've been practicing this stuff for a year now. It's like repetition is what's gonna understand. It's gonna help you understand. It's gonna build that connection between your brain and the body. So at first it may seem, go ahead and grab your balls off the ground. It may seem like, what am I doing? But your brain is getting a grasp on it, and the more you practice it, the more you'll integrate that movement that your body's capable of into your daily life. I like to squeeze the balls. I think it helps add some contact, because as we go through scapula, our shoulder blade, we want our arms to be as straight as possible, because what I end up seeing happening is like this kind of stuff, but we want to feel strong. So bring your balls out in front, and then straighten that tricep if you can. And now we're watching shoulder blade. I'm going to turn around so you can see them. We're going to reach the balls forward like you're trying to reach as far as you can, protracting, but no spine work here. Stay tall in your posture. Irradiate tension through your legs. Squeeze the balls. Then start to slide your shoulder blades up towards your ears in that forward position as high as you can get them. And then start to squeeze them back behind you. Squeeze them together as high as they can be. And then start sliding them down your back. So what happens as you're sliding down is your belly and your ribs want to jump out. Control that. Sliding down and forward. Reach the shoulder blades forward, widening in the back, sliding up towards your ears. All the way up. Squeeze them together in the back. Slide them down. Keep squeezing the balls. Then roll forward, one more. Reach, squeeze, elevate, squeeze back, and down, and forward. Then we're gonna reverse it. So, slide them down. It's a lot of work, right? So if your shoulder blades don't slide easily on your rib cage, that's gonna affect your posture, your arm health, your neck health. So slide them down and forward, then squeeze them together and back, and slide them up towards your ears. And then reach them forward, slide them down, squeeze them together in the back and down, and slide them up. One more, reach forward, slide down, squeeze together, and slide up. Good, relax. A little break. It's a lot of work, so it can be a lot of work. These cars can also be an exercise. You can go lighter tension in the morning, just waking up. You can go heavier tension if you're doing it before a workout. Or you can use them as a workout. Those are hard, right? They're good for
Some people in there are sweating already.
I know. We're getting warmed up. So let's talk about the elbow. Why don't we all have a seat for a minute here? And then Lisa just got done with her training class, which is awesome. And one of the cool things about these guys is they're constantly developing and improving their research. And so she's got a few little extra tidbits for a couple of these cars. So I'm gonna let Lisa teach those for you, which will be fun. Let's do elbow. So looking at our elbow and the way that that joint works. This is one of the biggest coupling joints. We tend to use our shoulder and our wrist when we just need to use our elbow. So I love doing these, but they're hard at first. So let's do one at a time, and let's hold our shoulders still as we do this. And then I want you to supinate, which is turning your thumb out and down. And notice that motion, right? And then pronate and go the other way. And feel that rotation, but don't let your upper arm move at all. And just notice what your elbow is capable of, right? And so as we move through these cars, we're gonna start at the top, supinate, send that thumb out. Keep trying to rotate that thumb out as you open all the way to straight. Yep. And then let's bend back this way. Keep opening, and then rotate down so that the thumb is now trying to reach this way. Don't let the shoulder move. Keep trying to rotate as you extend. All the way down, and then all the way back up, still rotating in that direction. You should feel some stuff going on in that elbow. Rotate out, keep rotating as you open, moving through that thick mud, and then bend, and rotate in. Now keep rotating as you straighten, good? So keep that tension, and not letting your upper arm go with it. Now we're gonna switch it. So keep rotating that way, come all the way down. And then we're gonna rotate at the bottom. So rotate up, keep rotating the thumb out. Bring it up, and back down. Rotate the thumb in, and back up. And so the biggest take-home message, we're gonna do one more like this, and I want you all to leave with, is it doesn't have to be the exact same every time, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just you exploring the way that your joints work and finding that motion, right? Taking that 2 minutes to do those 2 reps on your own. Whether you turn at the top or the bottom, there's no right or wrong. Just do it. Explore that motion. Teach your elbow how to be an elbow. All right, so arm up, stable at the top, turning the thumb out, and we're gonna open to the bottom. Keep rotating as you open, keep rotating as you bring it back up. Rotate, pronate, yeah? All the way down, straighten, all the way up, switch.
And Haley, I'm gonna add something too. So
Yeah.
But Haley was talking about the amount of effort that you use while you're doing these. Some of you, you're like, it's a big deal. Like you're doing this and you're like, why am I even here? So there's an amount of effort you can put into it. So like she said, 10%. You can go all the way up to 100%. So I was demonstrating this for someone the other day. I was like at 80% when I was demonstrating. I was shaking. She's like, why are you shaking so much? Because I was actually trying to isometrically resist against myself so that I could control everything and move. So you can do as much, make it as hard as you want it to be. You could squeeze a ball here too, like you do.
Yep.
Just so you know, doing this is fine, but then you can start to ramp it up and make it a little more challenging, like you're moving through water or mud or peanut butter or whatever you want to think about to create that tension on your joint, whatever joint it is you're working on. I just see some of you just going like this.
Yeah.
So I just wanna...
It's not just the.
And this is fine. This is to find you in the grocery store so you don't look weird. I mean, you're already gonna look weird, but you don't have to look weird like this. But you can still like, okay, so there's levels. I just wanted to say that.
So just feeling, and you don't want to overdo it, like you're looking for that joint, you're trying to find it. I feel like in the beginning when I first started doing these, it's a little bit lighter, right? You're exploring your understanding, but then as you start to feel that, you start to feel all this new tissue in there, like really you can ramp it up, like use those muscles, feel that full extension, get the tricep involved, right? Bend it back, feel this, squeeze it in tight, reverse it, reach, engage, return. Feel that joint, become aware of it. Half of the movement science is our brain connecting with our body in that way. We can go through the motions, but if we're not understanding it. Okay, Lisa, I'm gonna let you jump in and do the GH joint.
The shoulder to the rest.
Shoulder. They were gonna find out.
So those of you who've done this with me before, this is different, a little bit different. There's just an extra piece added. Go ahead and stand up. So those of you who have been doing cars, we have not ever done anything in the front. And they added the front to it, adduction, so that we have full circumduction of the joint. So that's what's going to be different if you've done this before. Okay, so find that same standing position you were just in with Haley. Now we're going to do the right arm first. So with your left arm, make a fist so that you stay stiff and solid through the left side of your body. Okay, so as we're moving the shoulder joint on the right, I don't want you twisting your body to try to get your shoulder to move. So look at something after you're done looking at me. Look at something to keep you steady, to keep you from twisting your body, and then you'll come around and help. So left hand is in a fist. Right hand, you're going to externally rotate at the shoulder and turn the entire arm open so the palm is facing forward. So this is the different piece. Now you want to try to maintain the the thumb twisting as far as possible into external rotation as we cross in front of the body into adduction. So if you got boobs, you're just going to have to get them out and just get around them as best you can or squish them. Okay, so you're going to start to stay in external rotation. You're going to start to cross the arm in front of the body. When you do this, are you turning your whole body? So try not to turn your body. Get around all the flesh. Keep trying to turn your thumb down and your pinky finger up to maintain that external rotation. And then start going up once you can't cross across your body any further. Start going up, but try to keep the external rotation. So try to keep the pinky finger reaching towards the ceiling. Now once you get up to a certain point where you feel like something else is going to couple or your arm won't go up any higher without the pinky finger turning down towards the floor, then start turning. Pinky, elbow, shoulder, you're going to internally rotate. So it's going to spin. So the bicep's going to turn towards your face. I'm just going to be lazy with the rest of my body. And then get as much internal rotation as you can with the arm and start to reach up. Now you're back to the traditional cars that you guys know, those of you know. Internally rotate, so keep reaching back, like you're reaching back into the back seat of your car, but don't turn your whole body as much as you can to do it. Now you're looking at me, come on. When you get back there, stay as high as you can, so you feel your triceps squeezing as you go back, and then start to bring it down so that when you finish, you're in internal rotation from the shoulder, elbow, and wrist. Your palm is facing away from your body. Okay? Stay where you are. Reset, make sure everything is steady. Then you're going to go straight back behind you. So straight back behind you. Don't go out to the side as much as possible. Straight back behind you. Squeeze your tricep. Good. Try not to turn your body unless you're looking at me. Now once you get as high as you think you can go, then start to rotate into external rotation. So bicep turns away, forearm turns away, palm turns away as much as possible. And then you're going to reach away from your body as you lift, away from the center of your body. Lift up. Now, you know what we're going to go back to, so we'll start to get that external rotation happening. So start to turn the pinky finger up towards the ceiling. Start crossing in front of your body, trying to keep that external rotation. Pinky finger up, thumb down as you come back into that big circle, and come back around to the end, okay? Shake out your arm.
That was one.
We'll do one more time. Let's do one more time. We'll go a little faster this time. Okay, ready? Palm faces away. So now you don't have to look at me. I'll still lead you through it. That way you're not going like this. So try to find something to focus on. If you can see yourself in the mirror, turn and look at yourself in the mirror. It's helpful. Okay, so external rotation. Keep it an external. Keep rotating as you go in front of you. So pinky fingers trying to go up. Eye of the elbows trying to turn up as you lift, but don't turn your body.
That's just your arm.
Go up as high as you can without changing anything. What are your hips doing? Up, I'm saying what I'm seeing. Up as far as you can. When you feel like I can't do it anymore, start to rotate the other way. Turn your bicep in, elbow, forearm, palm, and then reach up and back, and keep turning into internal rotation. Keep turning, keep twisting, keep turning. Keep your height going, don't just plop it down. Keep your height as you're coming, then once you can't, then start to slide it down. So the back of your hand, back of your forearm lands at your thigh. So you're in internal rotation of the shoulder. Are you ready? So everybody bring your shoulder blades together on your back. Squeeze your butt. Are you ready? Straight back, extension. High as you can, squeeze it out, turn.
No, and that's okay. Don't push through the pain, especially in the shoulder.
So remember, if you have pain in the top of the shoulder, don't go so big. Reach. Keep turning your pinky finger up as you're reaching. Keep going. Cross your fingers across the ceiling or down here if you can't go that high. Go down in front of your body and back down to your head. Okay, shake it out and we'll do the other side. Shake out the serious faces. Relax your jaw. But seriously, if looking in the mirror will help you, because sometimes you're like, I'm totally doing this right, and then you see yourself, you're like, I'm totally not.
And then with this new piece, I feel like everyone's kind of rotating with their arms. So watch those ribs as they line up over the pelvis, right? Just the arms coming across the center. No rotation from the sternum. The mirror is super helpful. Yeah, we're gonna do the other side. So the other side. So other arm.
This is your right hand. That makes it left palm facing forward. So your chest is open. Okay, ready? So keep rotating. Pinky finger, eye of the elbow up as you lift and as you go up. I'll try to stay out of your way. As you go up, cross in front of the body. The side is going to feel different, for better or for worse. Take it up, reaching up. Okay. And then once you can't get up any higher, then spin the pinky finger forward, forearm forward, bicep towards the face and the head, and reach out and back. Think of your chest, you guys, as the hub of your wheel, and you're trying to reach away from that. Make yourself as long as possible. Don't just drop your shoulder. Keep reaching, rolling into internal rotation. All the way down so you finish with your palm facing away from your hip. And then check yourself. All right, straight back into extension. Your pinky finger lifts, your thumb lifts. Rotate the other way once you go as high as you can. So extra rotation, bicep, forearm, palm turns away. Keep turning it. Keep lifting and turning, lifting and turning, lifting and turning, lifting and turning. Lift your pinky finger to the ceiling. Cross back in front of your body. Finish that circle. Might hit you in the face. Might hit you in the chest. All the way down. Second rep, last rep. Ready? Rotate and up. Just watch that you don't move the body.
These are looking great.
Up, as high as you can without pain. Rotate. So some of you might not have a circle. You might have more like an oval.
That's your shoulder. Rotating.
Be respectful of your shoulders.
Bicep doing the turning, right?
Straight back when you're ready.
Strong body.
Remember to reach away from the center of your body. Reach away, you guys. Reach away to make space in the joint. Nice. And then shake it up. Okay? Woo. So big circles. Circles everywhere.
So we're gonna go into the wrists. Wrists are great. I really like doing the wrist with the balls. I think it takes the all the hand motion out of it. In my video that you're gonna get access to, I'm just using hands. I don't have the ball. So I'm gonna teach it to you with the ball today. And you can really squeeze anything, but what it does is it just helps you understand that joint mechanics. And you can do them together, but what I've seen teaching this stuff is that people have it's really hard to disassociate the elbow from the wrist. So in the beginning, let's just do 2 in each direction, but let's do 1, and let's hold our forearm still. So you can really see how we're gonna keep that. So squeeze your ball, irradiate tension through that arm. Everything else in your body is strong. Strong base, hold that arm still, and then flex your wrist up as high as you can. So you should feel all the stuff in the forearm working to flex that wrist up. And then start to head over to the pinky side, scraping around the circle of that joint. We're moving through concrete that's setting. Let's try it on the wrist. I like to feel it. So you can change the density of whatever you're moving through to increase your irradiation, right? Then you're coming around through extension, so you're pulling up with all these muscles trying to pull this up through here. And then come over to the thumb side, you're gonna have more motion over there. Notice what you're feeling. When you do this on your own, this is your assessment. Oh, my wrists are tired today. My wrists, this part hurts a little bit. What's going on with it? Just so you understand, scraping down, trying to open as much as you can. Feel all this working, nothing's moving in the forearm. Scraping around and pulling it in as hard as you can. Good, so you should feel stretched through here. This is your closing angle, no pinching. Back off if you do. Reverse it, head towards the thumb side. Then start to open to flat, but still abducting, trying to get that thumb to the side of the forearm, then scraping around the joint opening. Scraping over to the side and driving it back up. No movement through that forearm. One more circle on this side. Scraping down, opening, feeling each part of the joint. All the way back up, squeeze it in.
This is really hard.
It's really hard, right? It's much harder than, I mean, I teach this too, and it's like, oh, okay, this is nice, but look.
I'm moving my whole body.
Yeah. So this is disassociation at its best, right? Like,
So a couple of you, I see you going like this.
Yes,
That's wrist.
this
is not wrist.
Yeah.
You're not wrist.
And so what that means is make your circle smaller,
Yeah.
put less, make it smaller. It doesn't have, I've been working on this for a long time, so I have a lot of wrist mobility. But make it smaller, don't use your elbow, right? Let's go to the other side. So you're gonna squeeze the ball, pull it in, nice and tight. Let's head over to the thumb side. Really work on that side bending of the thumb to the outside of the arm. And then start scraping open, still squeezing the ball. And then coming over to pinky side. And pulling it up. Pull it in, use that forearm stuff. Good.
Actually,
Keep going
watch
in that
your
direction.
hand so your brain
You have
knows
to watch your hand.
what
Yeah.
you're asking.
You have to, and you have to hold that forearm still. Keep going in this direction. All the way around. And back up. Good, let's go the other direction. So squeezing, heading towards the pinky side first. Side bending, opening up into extension. Breathing, relaxing your shoulders just a little bit. Good. Coming around. Keep going one more in this direction. Stay with it. See, this isn't gonna move. Yeah, that's right. Make it smaller. If you feel like that forearm is coming with it, just make it smaller. What you're doing here with this stuff is building up proprioception and awareness of the joint. I like to, my old Pilates people know. It's like when we first got in certain things, you didn't know where your legs were doing, what your pelvis was doing. But then as you practice it, all of a sudden you get to move your legs independently of your pelvis. And that's what we're doing here. It takes a little bit of time. So if it feels foreign at first, just stick with it. Definitely. Okay, so Lisa's gonna come back and do the hip because we have some new hip stuff too. This is fun.
Okay, so you might want to go to the wall because we're rebalancing. So find a spot on the wall. Let's have our left hand on the wall, and you can be at the ears, it's fine. If your balance is really, really bad, and you know it is, these bars over here are awesome. You can hold with 2 hands if you need to, if you got really bad balance.
So I see.
So how about this? How about we do like one time on each side without overthinking it, and then Haley and I will like have you guys maybe watch us or whatever if you're not getting exactly, because the internal rotation part is where everybody sort of like has a Twilight Zone moment, like I don't know what you're even talking about. So if that's happening and we're having a hard time seeing what's going on, or even if not, we'll just all watch each other or watch us so you can see what's going on. So my people who've done this with me before, anybody in this room that's done this before, the addition is now adduction and internal or external rotation, just like the shoulder, okay? So those of you who've done this before, we're adding another piece. So just watch me real quick and I'll show you. So what you're gonna do, pelvis doesn't move, back doesn't move. So no pinching. The pinching is probably gonna come when you're coming through the front and out to the side. No pinching, okay? So, and also your standing leg doesn't bend, and also this doesn't happen to move your hips, because I know it's going to happen to some of you in the room. So this stays really solid. So the first piece is that as you take this foot off the floor, you're going to move it into external rotation. That's the first piece. So then we're going to go up. Let me just do it. Everybody watch. Some of you don't know. Some of you don't know, so watch. Hopefully I can do it okay. Okay. So external rotation. This is the new part. Up as high as you can to external rotation. Stay in external rotation as you're crossed over the body. I can't cross much further than that. Start to come out. As soon as you feel like your foot's starting to drop, you're going to take it down and spin into internal rotation. So for those of you who are familiar with this, we used to do internal rotation kind of back here. It's going to start happening here. Maybe a little wider for some of you. I have messed up hips. So back behind. You can also see I'm starting to lean. Back behind you. Reaching as far as you can into extension, squeezing your butt, coming back through. Back behind you, retrace your steps out to the side, external rotation, and then keep that external rotation happening, just like you do with your shoulder, around to the front. Bring it down and bring it back to center, okay? Don't worry about it if it's like, I don't know what you're even talking about. Just do the best you can. Haley and I will help, okay? So standing on your left leg, hand on the wall, unless you're practicing, you don't want to have your hand on the wall. So take your right, so make sure your left leg is solid. Squeeze your left butt cheek like you mean it, okay? You can have your hand on your pelvis to make sure your pelvis isn't moving too. And like I said, Haley and I will come around to make sure your spine isn't doing anything crazy. So lift your foot and then take your ankle and your foot towards the ceiling into external rotation. So you're trying to get your ankle and your foot up as high as you can and cross it in front of your body. So now the boys have to worry about their stuff in the way. They have their stuff. So cross it as far as you can without twisting your body. Right? Now lift it a little higher. Try to keep the external rotation. Now start to bring it out to the side. As soon as you feel like your ankle is going to drop, spin in the hip socket. Start to turn your ankle and your foot out without cocking your right hip to the ceiling. Lift your ankle as high as you can to the ceiling as you wind it back behind you. Keep lifting it so you feel all this side butt stuff squeezing. Some of you are going into like this weird king dancer yoga pose. So take it back behind you. Don't make your circle so big. Squeeze your butt, bring your knee back down and reach your other knee. Now go straight back behind you. Reversing, straight back behind you. Now just open your knee out to the side. Straight out to the side. Tuck your ankle, your foot, your heel underneath you without turning your pelvis, and then start to pick it up and external rotation. So keep lifting your ankle, keep lifting your heel, keep lifting, keep lifting, keep lifting. Cross in front of your body as far as you can without anything else moving. Slowly bring it down. Set it next to the other foot. Let's do the other side.
That was awesome. I was sort of bored. I mean, I didn't have anything to do because good job. You guys ready? So now you're standing solid on that right leg. Don't bend your right knee. Take your foot off the floor and then begin to externally rotate. So pick up the heel, turn the inside of the thigh towards the ceiling, but don't move your pelvis. Don't lean forward, Lois. Lift your leg higher and start to cross it in front of your body to start. How far can you cross it in front of your body? Now keep it up, away from the floor. Keep your ankle up and start to take it out to the side. How far can you go without your heel coming down? As soon as you feel your heel start to drop, spin at your hip joint. Spin your ankle out to the side. Keep it as high as you can as you wrap it behind you without turning your pelvis. Back down, knee meets knee. Okay, straight back behind you. You're going to reverse.
It's not King Dancer.
Belly in. Doesn't have to go that far.
Straight out
Just
to the
feel
side.
like the leg working.
Pull your ankle and your heel underneath you, so rotate at the hip into external rotation, then keep externally rotating. Keep lifting your ankle, keep lifting your heel. Bring it across your body. How much higher can you turn your inner thigh to the ceiling? And then bring it down to the other foot. Okay? Good job.
Nice work.
So, I will say, those of you who, again, are familiar, you cannot do that, obviously, when you're on all fours. I mean, you could if you were, like, bending down on something where you had some space, but obviously you can't do that on all fours or on your side. It doesn't work.
But the other way is okay. If you're missing that external rotation piece, you're still getting a ton of joint rotation. So we need especially our ball and socket joints. We're gonna go into the shoulder and the hip a lot more. They have so much range of motion. And what do we really do with them? When do we get all those movements in that are helping to lubricate the joint? We don't. And so we need this. You know, this is the world we live in now. We need to exercise our joints. So when you look at the video too, I think I've given 2 other regressions. This one is the hardest one of all to do standing. You can also do it on all fours. You can also do it side lying, and you'll see that in the video as well. So we'll go into the knee. Let's have a seat. If you're not comfortable sitting on the floor, you can sit on a block or a bolster. If you didn't grab one before, one of us can grab you one. So I love going through the knee. I work with a lot of skiers and mountain bike people where I am now. And what we miss about, and I even used to say this, that the knee's a dumb joint, right? It just does this. It's really not. It's actually responsible for a lot of rotation, and that was something that we kind of miss. So if something's going on in your hip or your ankle, often your knee is going to take the brunt. So we're going to strap our arm underneath our right knee and bring the other arm on top. And what we're doing here is we're blocking motion from the top of the leg. So I don't want to see any hip motion. The knee should not be moving. We are going to keep this snug. You can even use your abs and your arm and everything and like irradiate tension through your body. Keep that stiff. Now turn your toes up towards your shin and feel all this front stuff working, right? Then rotate out and rotate in. And notice that you see this tibia rotating out and rotating in. So we're going to add some motion to this, but I'd just like you to see it. And this in itself is a great exercise to wake up rotation in the knee. Okay, so we're going to turn it out, and then we're going to straighten it, really working through like that thick mud. Don't have to go further than your hamstring will let you, but then rotate it in. Don't let the knee go. The knee's going to stay pointed. Keep rotating as you bend and squeeze that calf into your arm. Feel all the work, all the tension behind the knee. Then keep it in that direction and open it up. Keep rotating as you open, rotate out. Keep rotating as you close. Squeeze your arm, squeeze your hand. Tension, right? Opening and rotating in. All the way down and squeeze. Good. Shake your elbows down. We'll do the other knee. So we do 2 for the morning routine, right? Tension's about 30% if you do this first thing in the morning. If you're doing it later in the day, after, before workout, more tension, more reps. That's up to you. It's all good. So block the top of the leg, turn the toes up, rotate out, rotate in. Keep your eye on that tibia, the shin bone, right? Notice that it's moving. You should feel stuff in the knee working as you rotate.
If you can't feel it, you can take your hands and put them underneath your kneecap, those 2 bones, and see if they're actually moving. Because some of you are only moving your ankles, which is nothing else.
That's why you want to keep tension as you pull the feet up.
But if you're just like, I'm not sure if it's moving, if you just put your hand down on those 2 bones, you can kind of feel those muscles working and kind of feel those bones rotating if you're having a hard time.
So rotate foot out, open, rotate in, and not just the foot, but you do have to flex the toes up towards your shin to keep everything active in the front. And keep flexing the toes up towards your shin the whole time. Bend and squeeze, open. Keep rotating as you're opening, rotate out. Notice the shin bone move. Close it in, squeeze the arm. Keep rotating as you open. So you're not moving, it's isometric, but you're trying to move. you're feeling that you're trying to rotate as you come all the way in. And squeeze. You should feel some stuff in the knee. Feet should be waking up. Alright, we're gonna go into the kneecap I have on the video, and it's just really the idea that our kneecap does move, and you want to move it sometimes. So it doesn't have to be part of your daily routine, it can be part of your evening sitting in front of the TV routine, but just getting your kneecap to move side to side, keeping that motion through it, right? You can press down from the top, kneecap. Some people are so weirded out by this.
It makes me feel old.
It was like a kid game that you used to play with your friends, and you're like, oh, look! Now we're doing it for real. So you can make it circle around the joint, move it side to side, but if your kneecap's not sliding, then you're gonna have some issues there. So it's good to keep that healthy. And then we'll just do the other side. Just to notice. So you can press at the top of that tendon, the kneecap will slide down a little, press from the bottom of the tendon, it'll slide up, to the side, to the other side, and then just doing some circles with it, getting that motion all around there.
And if yours doesn't move, just touching it is a good thing. Just
Exactly. If it doesn't move very
Like,
much,
what if mine doesn't move at all, and I just massage it, and just say, all right,
give it some love. Give it some love. Okay. So moving on to the ankle. So you can kind of use the same idea that you did before by strapping that arm under, but now we're going to stabilize the lower leg. So no moving the tibia in here. So we're going to keep this still. We're going to flex the toes up, and mine don't like to go, but you can imagine that if yours go like this, that's great. A lot of this stuff is conceptual, right? Our bodies don't all do the same things, but they can. So turning the toes up and then starting to turn out. And as you turn out, you're driving the peaky side of the foot up towards the outside of the shin. You should feel all this stuff working. And then start to reach down, pointing the toe through that circle, pointing the toe as much as you can. If this is your first time cramping, you're welcome. There'll be more. Drive your arch up towards the inside of the leg. Good. Drive the big toe up towards the shin, and mine's stuck now. Keep going. So 2 circles in each direction. Nice thick mud. Yeah, if you can bend your toes down like that all the way, do it. You can spread them out really far at the top. Do it. Coming all the way down. Good. Reverse your circle. So come all the way up. Drive the toes up to the shin. Feel that stretch through the back of the calf if you can make it happen.
But I still feel it
Arch.
here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is all lower leg stuff.
So if you're asking people if they're moving, yeah, you're using those muscles. You just don't want your knee and your hip to move. The joints themselves. Yeah.
You're not moving this, but all of this is
You
working.
feel that stuff.
Squeezing like down.
Yeah, squeeze your arm, because that's going to help you stabilize this. So we are using tension for most of these exercises. And again, morning routine, if you're just waking up and you're tired, like maybe you're not squeezing and tightening, but end of the day, before workout, maybe you're really squeezing and tightening. Maybe you cut off circulation in your hand. Let's do the other side. So hook it under, hold on to it. And as you improve too, you don't need all these strapping techniques because you'll be able to keep that shin still on your own. But it's always helpful. So drive those toes up towards the shin. Drive that pinky toe out and then lift the outside of the foot up towards the outside of the shin. And then reach down through the toes on that outside. Point the toes. Use the bottom of the foot. Get those ballerina toes.
I already see lots of Kinstretch faces.
Reach the arm out, drive the toe up towards the shin. This is not easy. You should feel all kinds of stuff. We have so many joints in our ankle. This is fall prevention, this is strength and hiking and walking, and life skills right here. Right? Toe up towards the shin, reverse it. Arch is coming up, so you're pulling this up. You're trying to drive that pinky toe down, yeah. And then come down through that point. Roll around the joint. Drive that outer foot up towards the shin and flex the toes up. Good. Was that 2?
Yeah.
I can't count to 2.
It was 2.
Alright, so the toes are fine, and coming from someone who had no proprioception in their feet, this is always fun. You can And like I said, break it up. Do this when you're at home. Teach it to other people. Teach other people the cars. Best way to learn is to teach others. Everyone needs joint work. So, big toe stays down, all the other toes up. Here's the trick. This ball mount of the big toe, ball mount of the pinky toe, and the outside of the heel need to stay on the ground. So sometimes when you're starting, you need to pin them on the ground with your hands because they don't want to listen. So all the toes are up, big toes are down. Right? Then we're going to lift the big toe up and lower the big toe down. But all the toes are staying up. I know, it may be conceptual at first, but just imagine it. And sometimes the fingers like to help. Try to keep all the big toes up and then lift all the little toes up and then do big toe sit-ups. So, see, my pinky won't see them up. So just try to lift and lower only the big toe, but keep all the other ones up. I'm the worst example, and I'm doing really well. Good. And then let's put all the toes down, and then try to do big toe sit-ups with all the toes down. And now big toe just lifts and lowers.
Mine just wiggle around.
It's like,
This is the one thing I can do.
oh good.
Some toe things.
So now we're going to keep the big toes down and lift all the other toes. Lift them up and then lower them. And lift them and lower them. This is step one, just trying to separate the big toes from the little toes. That's where you start. So sometimes you hold the big toe down and then lift and lower the rest of them. But watch that your pinky side of your toe isn't pulling up. Just feel all those muscles in the bottom of your feet that are working right now, that you're waking up. And then you can play with it. And there's nothing wrong to do. We're just choosing a few to show you. You can lift the big toe and try to lift the rest in sequence. And then try to lower the big toe and then lower the rest in sequence. Like a piano. Lift the little toe first. This one's the hardest, trying to lift the little toe by itself. And then the rest. So you can play with it. I have some at the end of the video too with the toes. But the biggest thing is don't give up on your feet. Give them some love. Pay attention to them. Like, play with if you have kids or nieces and nephews, like, get them to wiggle their toes and teach them, like, toes are not to be disassociated from. Like, we need to know that we can control that. But let's go into some spine. So that's it for the actual cars routine in joints. But when we talk about the spine, we really want to work on segmentation. So let's come into all fours. We're going to start with the lumbar spine. So we're going to come onto elbows, and we're going to puff our upper back up as much as we can. Now, if any of you are familiar with rabbit pose, where you put your head down and you curl your fingers around your head, this is actually pretty helpful for keeping that upper spine really curled. So think about somebody sticking an ice pick underneath your sternum and like try to stay off of it, right? And so press down into the floor with your forearms. Knees are right underneath your hips. And then you're going to send your sits bones up towards the sky. So we're arching in the low back, sending the sits bones all the way up to the sky, creating an arch in our lumbar spine. And then we're going to scoop that tailbone under and try to tilt the tailbone under like you're sticking your tail between your legs if you're a dog. So we're going back and forth between those two motions. Yeah, more of that. And then we're learning how to move only our lumbar spine, right? So our upper back is going to stay rounded. We're going to segment, especially if you're into rotation sports. Learning how to segment your spine is going to be so helpful in your rotation. So keep that upper back stable, puffed up, keep pushing into the floor, and let's add some air. So inhaling as your sits bones reach up to the sky, arching through that lumbar spine. That's okay, you're there, I was just not talking. Yeah, you want me to show you again? So everybody's heads were down.
But for a lot of us, we don't know how to move our lower back by itself.
And it's a weird concept at first, like it's a brain thing. So here we are, we're super puffed up in the upper back, my head's not even on the ground, and I'm scooping my tailbone under, and then I'm arching my sits bones
Trying
up.
really hard just to move this part of her spine.
And it's really hard because my upper back wants to help, but I'm working the best I can just to.
Okay. Again, this might be like no man's land for you. And that's okay, as long as you're practicing getting your brain to pay attention to that area.
And it will come.
Some of you need to round your upper backs more.
Yeah, more puffed up in the upper back. Press down through the floor, dinosaur spikes to the sky. Good, this is good for my hand too, right? And so the ribs are the next in line, right? And the ribs are gonna wanna follow. Good. And you're not arching. Nice. Good job. And so maybe it's just little light bulbs at first. You guys, yep. Arching. Yep, and then again, little arch, sit bones back. So any of my old Pilates people, you remember our pelvic clock exercises, the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock pelvis circles? This is kind of like that, only in a different position. Yeah. There you go. Got a couple more seconds out of that last one. I'll stay up here. Keep arching. Nice. Good. So if we don't get to you and you need help, make sure you give us some eye contact. But you all, good. I think you all are getting it. Yeah. And yeah. So now in the arch part, I'm going to keep you scooping. Yep, more. And so really when you're segmenting lumbar, think about sits bones more than you think about spine, right? Because the sits bones are what are going to drive that motion. So if you're trying to think about these deep low back segments, you might not get them. But if you can really think about driving those sits bones down and scooping from there, you're going to get those lower joints in. So that's lumbar. For our upper spine, thoracic, which is when we did our thoracic cars, right? This is all of our hinge points. So we're going to come either into, if you're okay in child's pose, sitting on your feet like this, then you can be here. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can even do this in a regular seat. You can sit on a block. You can do anything. The idea is we're not letting our low back help. So I like to do it in child's pose because we're really blocked here, right? We're already tucked under and we're already in a posterior tilt here. And then you can bring your chest down to your legs and your hands forward. But we're not just stretching, right? We want to be working. So drag them in a little bit. So belly button's drawing into spine.
So we're going to round our head towards our knees as much as we can. And then we're going to try to
open our chest and look forward. So it's collarbones looking forward as much as you can. And think about the sternum driving up off of your legs, and then the sternum rounding
down, head coming towards your knees.
So what am I engaging?
So you're trying to move your upper spine. So you're engaging abs when you come down, right? Because you're driving your belly into your spine. And you're kind of pushing the mat away. Energetically, as you're curling down, think about shoving the mat away from you as you curl. And then as you go to come up, slide the shoulder blades down. Energetically drag the mat towards you and try to open your chest, but keep your belly on your legs. And so I'm going to come around and really get y'all. So, and this is helpful if you can have somebody kind of block that upper spine and really feel where you want to segment from. Yeah, I'll get my knuckles on all of you. Good. So you want to feel that extension. Feel those collarbones widening. Feel that dragging of the mat towards you as you open. Shoulder blades driving down. Yeah. And so you can adjust, as you practice this on your own. Maybe you like to have your hands in more. Maybe you like to be at a higher place. The big deal is we don't want our lumbar spine, our low back, to be arching for our upper spine. We want to feel that upper spine open.
Also the neck, you guys. So some of you, it's really good to move the neck. It's really good. It's really easy to move the neck and not the upper back.
Yeah.
So if you can let your neck kind of move one pace behind the rest of your spine, or keep your chin kind of tucked in. Resist the urge to flick it forward.
There we go. So feel all of this.
Let it be in the middle back first, if that helps you, before the head kind of follows. Because some of you are just lifting your necks.
Yeah,
Because that's all you had, and that's okay.
we'll get there.
Teach your upper back how to move.
Is there a place to direct your breath?
Yeah, there we go. So I want to feel all of this firing. If you don't feel stuff above the broad line firing, then maybe readjust so you become a little
I
higher.
would inhale and
There you go.
extend, and exhale.
Yes,
Down.
inhale.
Are you talking about, is that what you need?
I just feel like in that stretch when you're inhaling, like I'm putting my breath either, should I be stretching, we're going from upper back, right? So pull in and put my breath to my upper lung.
And then rounding and really curling it in. So when you're rounding, the head is gonna help. It's at the top of the spine. So don't breathe.
Okay.
Sorry,
Feel
hold it
it.
and then release it.
Okay.
Because that will brace your low,
And then opening.
your low spine,
Okay.
right? And then do your thoracic and then take a breath. That will help you because I know you're loose like me in your back.
Even like drag your hands in. I feel like some of you might have reached out too far in your child's pose position that you didn't allow for enough movement. So I've had to ask a lot of people to bring their hands in. So if you're all the way out here, you're not going to get very much movement, right? That's why I said bring it in, because all we're doing here is trying to keep this in a rounded position. So you sit back on those heels, round, and open. Like we want to be able to feel like you can move through that spine and get those segments moving. So there's so many tricks and tools that you can do for spine segmentation, but we can only go through so many. Good, so let's go to some breath work. I like doing this breath work because it's like cars for your diaphragm. The diaphragm is a super important muscle. It's our muscle of breathing. So I like to teach this in bear sit, which some of you might absolutely hate, and I don't want to ruin your day. So if you hate bear sit, you can sit on a block. You can sit in Indian style. You can sit wherever you want. We're just going to breathe. But for those of you that want to be tortured, let's sit in bear sit. So good for you. Okay, bear sit. Feet is wide, wider than your shoulders. Knees out, wider than your shoulders. Arms to the inside. Sits bones down, lengthen up through the crown of the head. We're going to start with a maximal breath in, widening through the ribs as much as we can. And then just easy let it out. Good. Inhale, big and wide. Fill it up. All that you got. Hold it for a hot second at the top. Easy out. And again, inhale, wide. Open those ribs, open that chest. Let the air go wherever it can. Exhale, easy out. One more. Inhale, wide. Exhale, easy out. Good. Everyone still wants to do like, that's not it. Just easy. Right, now we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to inhale in, just get the air you can, and then exhale, force it all the way out. Now you get to do it. Draw the belly in, tighten the pelvic floor. Finish, there's no air left inside of you. Hold that for a split second, easy in. Exhale, all the way out, force it out. Nothing left. Pelvic floor. Second, easy in. Two more. Tighten. Hold. Easy in. Last one. All the way up. Squeeze it tight. Nothing left. Good job. Easy in. Here we go. Max in, max out. This is our Wim Hof. Inhale all the way in. Exhale all the way out. Inhale all the way in. Exhale all the way out. If you hold, inhale all the way in. In more. Out. Last one. Inhale all the way in. Exhale all the way out. Hold it there for a split. Oh, you can't get out yet. I know you want to. We're going to stay. Good. Start engaging your legs into your arms. Ramping up. So just a slow engagement. We're just starting to engage. Inner thighs, they're mad from being stretched. We're going to start squeezing our arms. Our shoulders are working hard, not letting the knees win. Keep ramping up. Keep working those knees harder into the arms. Keep going. Working harder. We're not actually moving. This is an isometric contraction. This is your tails. On your worksheet, you'll see it. We're going to hold it for 3 more breaths. Maximal output as hard
hard as you can squeeze those arms, as hard as you can keep those arms open. Then freeze, and now try to open your knees away from your arms. Use all that opposite stuff. Open those knees, squeeze the back. Belly drawing in, we're strong, our arms are strong. Everything's working, open harder. Put your arms back on the legs and relax into it a little further. Whoo, I know, everyone loves bear sit. Okay, so start some of this, just some windshield wipers, just getting some motion. So this is a great movement too. We're getting internal rotation, external rotation, right? Feels good. Our joints need, just like the yin and yang, our joints need both internal and external rotation to be healthy. If we're just staying in parallel or just externally rotating all the time, we're missing a huge piece of our motion. All right, we're going to sit into that. It's going to flow right into our internal rotation exercises for shoulder and hip. So you're going to lie on your side, and we're going to do shoulder sleeper exercises.
Do you want me to show it really quick? I'll do it so they can see. Because they're gonna lay down and not be able to see.
You won't be able to see if you're laying down.
So I'm sure.
Right.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, let's watch the
We're gonna go sideways?
Yeah, we're gonna do side line. Elbow's gonna be lined up right out in front of shoulder. You can use your block. Pillow. I like to squeeze the ball. Okay. Drive your hips back a little bit further. So you want your hips and your shoulders in line to make sure that you're squared up. And then you can also extend your legs straight, and that helps you keep some weight on your legs more than just all of it on your shoulder. So we start here, elbow right out to the side, and then this is your internal rotation. Can y'all see? I'm sorry. So this motion here, pressing into this, is your internal rotation. We don't need to force it. We're not forcing ourselves into any position. We're finding our position, and then we're strengthening in that position. We're bringing awareness. So I like to have a hand here and the elbow on the hand, and then the elbow just weights the hand. So that's going to bring you into a passive stretch, right? If you're a super bendy person that can passively stretch a ton, don't go to your end range on this. Wait till you feel a little bit of stretch. You should feel it back through here. It's a deep structure, right? This is the deepest structure in our joint, the capsule. So wait till you feel that stretch. We're going to hang there for a little bit, and then you're going to begin to press the hand up into the elbow without moving. It's isometric. So you're going to start pressing the hand up into the elbow and just feeling all that stuff in the back of the shoulder working really hard, okay? And we're going to hold that. We're going to ramp up slowly. So you start with a little bit of energy, then you build up, you build up, you build up. And then, same thing that we did with bear sit, is you're going to keep this still, and now you're going to try to push this hand down actively to the floor, using the muscles that you have to internally rotate. So you're taking it from passive to active, right? You're teaching, and then you can replace the elbow, and we'll rest into the stretch a little bit further. Okay, this is an awesome tool. We're beginning to develop a neurological connection with our end range. So, pinching, stay out of it, right? Know your body. If something feels painful, or you don't like it, or you don't feel something, don't force it until you do. This exercise took me a lot. I'm hypermobile in my joints, and I get injured a lot because of that. But I don't have a lot of proprioception, a lot of ability. So in the beginning, I didn't feel anything for a long time. And that's okay. If you're doing it and you don't feel pain, it's okay. You're working it, you're strengthening it. So first thing, alignment's important. Line that elbow up right out of the shoulder. Make sure the hips and shoulders are in line. You can bring the legs forward if you feel like you have too much weight on your shoulders. Good. So squeeze your ball, the ball facing towards the ground. Take that top elbow on top of the other arm. So it's like the hand is on the forearm, the elbow rests over the ball. Good. Now allow the elbow to sink the hand down. So it's just the weight of your own. Okay, so protect your shoulder, and if you don't feel anything in the shoulder, you can always try to roll forward a little bit with your chest. Yeah. You'll feel it back in the shoulder capsule. It'll be like something deep in that structure, and if you don't feel it, you can roll forward a little bit.
In the shoulder you're laying on?
Yeah, when you're laying on, that's when we're working.
Good.
Just there.
Yeah, you'll feel it. Yeah, that's it. Good. And so everyone's gonna have a tighter structure. So right now we're passively stretching. So breathe. Use your breath pattern. When you're doing these, you can breathe how you like. Maybe you want to work on some of your other breathing. Maybe 4 in, 4 out. But if this is too much, so to modify this, you'll bring your elbow closer to your body. So if you don't want to modify it, you want that elbow directly out in front of the shoulder. You're all doing fine. I just wanted to. So the elbow is just resting on the hand, and we're doing a passive stretch right now. That's why I keep talking and giving you time. We're actually holding this for a couple minutes, just to passively get there. This is your relaxation. You're noticing, you're feeling your shoulder, you're thinking about your shoulder and feeling it. Now we're slowly going to start ramping up. So squeeze that ball, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your legs, pull your abs in, and start to press that bottom hand up into the elbow. But don't let it move. This is isometric. So you're not moving, but you're ramping up in strength and energy. You're breathing too. So keep breathing. We're ramping up, we're about 20 to 30% now. You're squeezing the ball. We're not stressing the wrist or anything. So, there you go. So pressing the back of the wrist up into the elbow. Ramping up 50% right now. 55. Giving me your max effort coming up here for 2 more breaths. I don't see glutes squeezing. Let's get the legs involved. Let's get everything working super hard. Now freeze. Try to send the ball down to the floor away from the elbow. Top elbow stays where it is. Bottom arm separates and tries to touch the ground. Squeeze all that opposite stuff. Work the shoulder. Drive it towards the floor. Keep your tension in your body. Keep your breath. One more deep breath here. Now relax the elbow back on top. Where it was. Where it was. So put the ball back where it was actively. Now let the elbow rest on top. Let the weight go. Yeah. Good. And just breathe into that stretch. You might get a little bit more range. Not important if you don't. Good. So go ahead and lie on your back now. Keep your ball in your hand. Head flat on the ground. Ball up overhead. Squeeze the ball. Reach the hand towards the sky and feel that shoulder protract. Now draw the shoulder blade back down so it's flat on the mat. And push the shoulder blade into the mat to stabilize it. Squeeze the ball, rotate the ball in, and rotate the ball out. So we're doing axials. You're just rotation through that joint. The shoulder blade doesn't get to come with it, right? You're just exploring, and what you're doing is you're saving the work, right? You just worked some deep capsular stuff. So now we're rotating. This is like a miniature car, right? It's just rotation in one set movement. So we're in a neutral position. The shoulder blade's not moving because we have it pinned to the floor, and we've noticed that the movement's coming from your bicep, right? The wrist and the elbow are going to do their thing, but you want to feel like it's the bicep rotating in, rotating out. So watch the bicep. Yeah, and try to keep that shoulder blade still. So you can do these out to the side, you can do them up high, you can do them in flexion, you can do them wherever, but after you do that exercise, especially like the sleeper stuff, you want to get that work imprinted into those tissues. And bicep. So bicep. Really think about when you're doing these axials, and you can do however many you want, that the motion's coming from the bicep, because it's the upper arm bone that attaches into that capsule, and that's what we want to work. Good, we're creating space in the capsule and building a healthy shoulder. Let's do the other side. Got a lot to fit in 2 hours. All right, so get yourself comfortable. You got your pillow, you got your elbow lined up right outside your shoulder. Remember that if you're not feeling the stretch, you can rock your weight forward towards that bottom arm. Yep, take a snack. Snack times in an hour. All right, so line your knees up. Yeah, and if you need to modify it, if you have a wonky shoulder, or something doesn't work right, or you're not happy in this position, bringing your elbow down closer to your body is going to make it a little bit easier. So rock. A lot of you do need to kind of roll forward onto that shoulder a little bit more. Good. Okay, so first we're just resting the elbow on the hand. We're just allowing that to stretch. We are not forcing. We are not pressing. We are finding our natural passive range. Do not shove that down. Just rest on it. And if it's wonky, here, and so this is your stretch. Okay. Just resting. Is that okay? Good. If you have a question or something doesn't feel right, then try and go over that through it that way. Breathing. So notice if that elbow wants to bend too much, it's going to change the stretch. So you want 90-degree angle at the elbow. If the ball's coming in too close to your body, it's going to change it. Do notice what your wrist is doing. Try to keep a neutral wrist. So this part you don't have to be. I just put her back up there. Good. Relaxing into it. Okay, we're going to start ramping up. So you're squeezing the ball. You're going to start taking that bottom hand and pressing it into the top elbow, but nothing moves. Start engaging your glutes. Start engaging your legs. Draw your belly in. Keep your breath pattern. So we're breathing. Breathing. Driving the back of the hand up into the elbow. That upper shoulder is working. That lower shoulder is especially working super hard. Think about where this movement comes from. It's deep in the capsule in the shoulder joint. Drive that shoulder down into the floor and try to push the elbow up. Ramping up further now. More. We're going to about 40% right now. Ramping up to 50. Keep breathing. I should see some shaking. This should not be easy. Keep pressing that ball hand into the elbow. Ramping up all the way. We're going to hold this for 5 seconds. It's almost over. Breathe, maximum. Now, keep the elbow where it is. Try to put the ball on the ground. So try to reach the ball hand to the ground. The other way. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. So start pressing that to the ground. Use all the opposite stuff in that shoulder. All the opposite stuff you just used. Drive the ball towards the ground. Breathe. Keep the abs working. Keep everything else working. One more breath. And then replace the elbow and relax into it. Just to solidify it. Rest into that space. Nice work. Good. Okay. And then lie on your back. And we're going to go into axials again. So keep the ball in the same hand. Head's flat on the floor. Squeeze the ball, drive the ball up towards the ceiling so you can feel that protraction first. I want you to feel what it feels like to lift the shoulder blade off the floor. Try to touch the ceiling with it, then drive it down and press it into the mat. Keep driving it down and pressing it into the mat. Keep the tricep working and the arms straight. Then rotate in and rotate out. So pay attention to this movement. You're training that shoulder to internally rotate and to externally rotate. Good. Keep driving into the mat, keep it stable. And if you do notice a lot of work in the wrist and the forearm, really try to work through that bicep. Upper arm. I like to squeeze the ball really tight, yeah. If you squeeze the ball really tight, you're gonna wake up everything in that arm. Wake it up. If you don't want to squeeze the ball really tight, then you don't have to. You're here by choice. You're welcome to leave. I just make your face. I think you're working hard. I do have to tell people that sometimes. This is all optional. You don't have to yell at me. I have to yell at you. That's my job. Good. A couple more. The axials, don't they feel good after doing that? Like, you can feel so much in that joint. Hello. Creating space, testing out cobwebs. All right, so we're going to stay right here on our backs to go into our hip sleeper. So this is internal rotation of the hip joint. So this is a big thing. This is a lot of core. This exercise, you're going to be using your abs like crazy. Because if our pelvis is rotating, I'm going to let Lisa show it while I...
Oh, I am.
Oh yeah, we don't actually have to do it. Just give them the position. My Vanna White, the supine hip sleeper. So we're gonna bend.
This one?
Nope, I'll talk you through it.
Okay.
I've done this before. Okay, so cross your right foot over your left knee. Or whichever side you want to do. Yeah. And then you're gonna walk this foot outside your body And then you're just gonna allow, so you might have done this stretch in yoga before. This is a really nice psoas stretch in yoga. And then you're just gonna allow this to settle down. But what's gonna happen is your pelvis is gonna wanna go with it, and that's not allowed to happen. So you gotta drive the pelvis down and keep the ribs and the hips in line. I like to put my middle fingers on my ASIS and my thumbs on my ribs to try to keep this box in the front.
So your butt can't leave that.
It will a little bit. We're not gonna like be crazy. You're just working as hard as you can not to let it.
Keep your sacrum on the floor is a good.
Try to keep your sacrum on the floor for sure. Butt cheek, Okay, so make sure, let's all do the same. Let's all do the right, yeah? Right foot over left knee. Make sure you walk that left knee out past your mat so that when you do come down into it, the knee is still in line with your hip. And we'll just come adjust you if you're not getting it. So move this foot all the way out the other way, Katie.
Internal rotation.
Yeah, there we go. So now as this comes down. So first we're just passively stretching. So this is where we're going to get you into position. So don't worry about, you want to bolster, you're good. So
Too far.
just relax. Good.
It's
It's gonna come up a little bit. So what we're looking for is that lower leg is going into internal rotation. Yeah.
So engaging your abs and
Engaging your abs.
This from moving.
But you don't have to go that far.
Can't get any more.
Okay, so if I don't go any further, I just stop there.
You just
All right. So we're stretching into this. We're relaxing.
So for some of you, this doesn't feel as satisfying because you're used to doing this in yoga. This is a whole different intention.
We're not. Yeah. I mean, I love this one in yoga too. It's such a good psoas stretch.
So our hips are really fibrous and tight in internal rotation for most of us. They're not going to go very far on most of us in this position. So don't force it.
All right.
So
If you have pain in your knee, don't go that far. That's that closing
So
angle.
is there one better than other? Like, is the yoga one wrong?
No, nothing's wrong. No, nothing's wrong. It's just
Different intention.
This is a different intention. We're trying to build strength and internal rotation. Yeah. You feel when the stretch is out. So you can even a bit more. So if it is hurting your knee at all, you can change the angle of that bottom foot. So you can flex the foot up and then maybe rotate the toes out a little bit. Remember when we did the knee stuff? And that'll change how it affects that. Why are you looking at me? So you can play with that rotation that you just learned about in your knee. And it'll change what's going on. So from here now, we're going to start ramping up. Let's get our arms out to the sides, make fists, and squeeze them. Just down at a V is fine. Somewhere where it's comfortable on your shoulders. Maybe not so high. Yeah. So press those shoulders into the ground. Start pressing that bottom knee up into the top foot. So now you are actively trying to unwind that bottom knee. So pressing the bottom knee up, use the glutes on that side. Feel where this motion is coming from to try to unwind that top knee. I mean the bottom knee. The top foot will not let that move. Press into the floor with your arms. Pull those abs in. We're ramping up. So we're about 40% right now. Keep trying to use that knee to press into the foot. Breathe. I don't hear enough breathing. This should be hard. I should see shaking in that leg. We're at the top for 5 more seconds. That's 2 more breaths. Work harder with your arms, your shoulders. Now freeze and keep that top foot where it is, but try to pull the bottom knee down to the floor. Not using the top foot at all. Try to pull the bottom knee to the floor. Push. All the inner thigh stuff, right? All that internal rotation stuff. Pull it to the floor. Breathe. Abs are still working. Shoulders are still working. 1 more deep breath. Fight for it. Replace the foot. Let it sink. Relax into it. Whew. Good job. Okay, so now we're going to do axials on that leg. So if you don't like to have your legs straight up, or you have a tight hamstring, that's fine. You can keep the knee bent as well. But you're gonna, if you're okay with it, bring that same leg that we just worked, the one that was on the bottom, straight up into the air. And then you're gonna do the same thing we did with the shoulder. You're gonna wind that knee out, and then wind that knee in. So notice if your hips and pelvis want to come along for the ride. But notice that it's coming from the kneecap. So the kneecap is turning in. The kneecap is turning out. The pelvis is staying still. Feel that external rotation, feel the internal rotation. You can do it with a bent knee too if you need to. You're good. Yeah. If it's easier on you and your hamstring to bend your knee so you can get more movement, then you can do it from here. If you've been doing the straight ones, maybe just try a few of the bent ones and see if you get a little more range and if you feel it a little bit better. Because what I want you guys to go home with is the understanding of how your joints work. Not that it has to be a specific exercise each time, right? That you're exploring your internal and external rotation.
Without the hip, you said?
Yeah, so the hip is going to want to come up in internal rotation, right? You're going to keep it driving down.
So for you, it's just like.
Try to keep the space between the hips and the
And I
ribs.
do it and not move it. And I do it, it just becomes this.
You want more strength. We're trying to gain control of the range that we actually have. And increase our range of motion in some ways. And so what happens is we lose range of motion in that joint. And so we're trying to get it, we're trying to be in control of it. We want to know that it's there, rather than if you have to go into internal rotation at some point, your body doesn't know what to do with it. It's like, I don't know that. You need it to. And it'll help with external rotation, which is how all your glutes function. We need all this stuff for healthy, functioning glutes, which are our powerhouse. Good. Let's switch legs. So, step the left foot outside the mat, knee bent, and step the left over the right. Sorry. Yeah. So, right foot goes outside the mat, left goes over the knee. Alright.
So you were pretty mobile, so it's easy
So
for you to
when you
just
move
go.
it out, you're looking for your knees in alignment with your
So
hip.
instead,
But I don't
Sorry, resting. Okay, I'm not gonna then just put a little weight on this.
Don't overdo it.
Yeah, you can turn
Good.
your foot up.
So we're just passively stretching here. We're just allowing that top foot to be heavy on the bottom. If you feel any pinching, again, this is visual. Closing angle pinching.
And
If
it
you
doesn't feel
feel
satisfying because
pinching,
you're used to going, because you can't.
then back off of
So
it.
this is all about resistance.
You need to move that ball now. You're good.
Resisting the urge to just go.
Is that enough for you, or? That's all.
So do I. It's hard. This is the hard.
You got it.
It's very psychological.
Yeah. You can fight. It's gonna be up a little bit. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, especially if you're conscious of it and you're working that rib and that hip together.
Use your abs.
Yeah, use your abs. I mean, there's gonna be a little bit of rotation, but it's okay.
This is a mirror in the ceiling.
It's okay. It's not even perfect. I'd rather you get the rotation.
So I should be.
Abs are on. Abs are on. Even though we're relaxing into it, abs are on for sure.
Okay.
And a passive stretch, you can hold this for anywhere from 1 to 4 minutes.
So don't relax this.
And then we're going to hold this for a couple more breaths, and then we're going to start ramping up. Make sure you got your position right. All right, so let's start gently pressing that bottom knee into the top foot. Remember that top leg is not going to let the bottom leg wing. We want to stay in this isometric contraction. We're going to engage those arms and really start pressing into the mat with our shoulders. Our abs are really squeezing now. Yeah. Squeeze, start pressing that bottom knee into the foot. Let's work harder. Think about where this is coming from. Deep in that glute, deep in that capsule. Start your energy there from your brain. Focus on your breath and drive energy from that hip up into the other foot. Come on, hip, you want to win. Breathe. Squeeze this. Ramping up. We're at 50%. I see shaking. It's making me so happy. You guys are doing great. Keep pressing. Keep breathing. We're going to max. We're holding it for 5 seconds. Breathe. Abs. Shaking. Now freeze. Keep that top foot where it is and send the bottom knee to the floor. Use the inner thigh stuff. Use all the inside, the opposite muscles from that hip. Try to drive that knee into the floor. If the top foot has to stay, that's fine, but keep working that bottom. If the pelvis rotates a little bit, it's okay. You're working hard, you're doing great. One more breath. And replace that foot. Replace the foot and relax into the stretch a little further. We're going to do some more to drive this into that joint. So just resting in the stretch. And then we're going to do a few axials right now just to create that workspace and imprint it into our brains. Like get our brain to understand that new range of motion that we just got. You can lay in a passive stretch for a long time, but when you get up, your brain doesn't recognize that it can use it. So what good is that doing? Maybe some relaxation, that's always good. There's always benefits, but when we lay in a passive stretch, we need to use activity. We need to get our brain to understand that we want to be able to use that range of motion. Otherwise, we're just weakening joint structures, which we need. Good. So rotating in, rotating out. If the hamstring's tight, try the bent knee ones as well. And when you do them, try to keep your knee right over the pelvis. So if you're doing the bent knee ones, the knee stays in the same spot and just pivots, right? We're not going to get opening and closing of the hip. It's gonna. So you're just doing ankle stuff. We need to do. There you go. Internal and external rotation of the femur in the hip joint. Yeah. So this is hip joint. Good. Yeah. Use all those muscles in your pelvis to rotate in and rotate out. Nice.
A lot of us do.
Nice. Yeah. So the bent knee. And try not to let your hip come along for the ride. Good, because that hip definitely wants to join in. And so if your hip's doing the motions and you're not getting the, yeah. Good. There you go. All right. Nice work. Grab a drink of water, eat it real quick.
telling you to.
Go the other way.
I was yelling, this is our usual work. Alright, so we worked on some hip flexion. I want to work, since we're doing so much in hips and shoulders, I really want to get through some good linear stuff for that. So let's stay on our backs and bring your right knee into your chest. So we're going to work on some pails and rails in hip flexion. So pails is the progressive angular isometric loading. Bottom leg straight, back down in the mat as much as possible. We're pulling our knee into the chest like a stretch, right? But we're gonna pin that bottom leg down to the floor. I want the knee to stay right in line. So if you're sending it to the outside, maybe you don't have as much room coming to the center, and that's fine. But if you feel pinching in that hip joint, then you need to back off from it, right? So what we're gonna do is start driving that knee away from you, but your shoulders and hands are gonna hold on to it. So you're pressing the knee away as hard as you can, trying to reach into those hands, but the hands aren't letting the knee move. The low back is pressed into the mat, that bottom leg is engaged into the ground. Try to push the knee away, hands don't let it. Does everyone understand what's going on? Yes. You're trying to send your knee back to straight.
Is it a big difference if you're under or over?
It's more helpful if you can be on top of the shin because you're gonna get more leverage, but it's not huge. So yeah, so the leg wants to straighten, right? Your leg is saying, I want to go do what my friend's doing. And your hands are saying no.
We're not pushing forward.
You are pushing forward, but you're not moving. Yes, isometric. So we're staying in the same position. I know, making me hold it so long. Good. So breathing, keep trying to push that knee away. Now take your hands off to the side and try to pull your knee to your chest on your own. Use all your muscles. Pull that knee into the chest. Hands to the side. Use them. Push it to the ground. Where's all your irradiation? Squeeze those arms into the ground. Pull that knee into the chest, belly to the spine. Keep pulling, breathing, and replace the hands and pull the knee back into the chest. Ooh, that's hard, isn't it?
Yes.
No one got cramps? I'm not working hard enough. Okay, so grab your ball from the side, and if you depending on the amount of space that you have between your knee and your chest, it's not going to go under your knee. It's going to go between your knee and your chest. So it's going to be right in the hip space. You need a bigger ball. If you need a bigger ball, but I was going to say you can use your block. So you can grab your block if your ball is too small. That's why I like foam blocks because they're easier.
I'm not sure where it's
It's
going.
going to go here.
Where is my ball going?
Ball's going to go here. So if your hip was super close to your chest when we did active hip flexion,
I'm not sure yet.
when we did active, we just did it. If your knee was on your chest, then you can put your ball right here in your hip. If it wasn't that close, you can put your block right here. So just have your block handy. So we're going through levels. You can stop at any time or regress if you like. Yeah. So you're gonna hug the block to your chest if you're using the block, or you're gonna hug the ball to your chest if you're using the ball. Good, arms down at the side, arms down at your sides, leg is straight, and now we're just gonna work on some hinges from here. So we're gonna try to maintain that hip flexion, holding the block or the ball to your chest, and then just try to work on straightening that leg. It doesn't have to straighten all the way. Keep pressing that bottom leg strong into the ground, and your strong arms or fists pressing into the ground. And we're just working on hinging. This should not be easy. This should be really hard, active hip flexion. You should be squeezing that ball or that block. Squeeze it. Make those hip flexors strong. You got it. If you get 3 or 5 good ones and you're shaking and it's hard, that's enough. Nice job. Good. All right, let's switch sides. That's what I was waiting for. Y'all are like moving your leg, like, what's going on? You're not doing it right. Squeeze. Good. So let's start again with the stretch. A nice length in the other leg. Active
Also,
hip
I'll add
flexion.
too, if you are letting your low back kind of dump into the floor while you're doing it, try to find more of a natural lumbar curve and keep that as you're moving your leg instead of dumping and pressing your lower back down into the floor. That'll change too what's going on with your leg.
So we shouldn't be engaging abs.
You are engaging your abs, but you're not.
I find that goes both ways. If you feel like you're arching in that low back, which can happen too, and for some of us it has super tight. If you feel a huge space under your low back, then you're going to be the one that needs to drive that pubic bone out and drop that navel into the spine. So this is, again, as you do these exercises or you work on this stuff, you learn about your own body. So we're pulling the knee into the chest. We have a stretch, right? We're just feeling that length through the other leg. And then we put our hands on it and we start trying to push the knee away. So now our knee is trying to break through our hands. So we're using all the opposite stuff to try to shove the knee out of this position. So we're trying to work it. You should be working those shoulders. Let your shoulders push back into the mat. Strong arms. Shin really wants to move. Yes, shaky. I love it. Keep breathing. Good. So you're really trying to push away. A couple more breaths here. And then when it happens, when I say go, those arms are going to go into fists at your sides, and you're going to tug that knee into your chest with all your might. Go. Arms at sides. Push you to the floor. Pull that knee into the chest harder. Belly button to the spine. If you're super flat in the back, maybe try to stick your bum out a little bit. Create a little space underneath that low back. Keep working. This is coming all the way up from your navel. One more deep breath. Keep holding. Keep holding. Hold the knee into your chest and go back into the stretch. Whoo, hip flexion. So good. So good for you. Good. We're going to do hip extension too, so you'll be super even, and tomorrow you'll remember me. Good. So grab the ball or the block. We're just going to try some hinges. You're welcome to sit out on anything that you don't want to participate in. You'll still learn from watching. So, knee to the chest. Find something to hold into the chest, whether it's a bigger ball or a block or whatever. And you can move it, if you have more range, you can move it up higher. If you don't have as much, get it right into the hip crease, right? Then pull the knee into the chest, straighten the arms, put fists on the ground, and work on some hinges. So this is active hip flexion, working on knee extension. Good. Nice. Squeezing ribs down, breathing. Just straightening as much as you can. Let's go for 5 to 8, depending on how it feels. I mean, you should be dying after a few, for sure. Good. You're going to feel your hips. Nice range. Good. Nice. So you can always bring the knee closer to the chest. These can always get harder, and that's what it's meant to do. Always progressing. Nice job. All right. We are going to flip over. You can do those with both legs too, which is kind of fun. When you're on your own, playing around with this stuff. So I'm trying to stick with the sheet just so you have a printout of what we did so that you can remember as you go back and you want to review some of it. But there's so much to do too. So we're going to lie on our stomach and do some shoulder stuff. So, yeah, you're going to go first for sure. If you already feel low back stuff lying on your stomach, Then let one of us know so we can prop you up and get you comfortable, because we are going to be here for just a little bit. Keep your balls handy so you can grab them. You know you're going to need them, right? You can do it. Good.
Extra roll.
Yeah, mine might have rolled away. So we're going to do something. Here's a little timber. And to bring you back. Everyone takes me. Bring them back in. All right, so you have your bowls. Hopefully they're the same size and density in your hands. Did yours go away, Lois? So we're gonna work on, and you can do them sitting, but so we're gonna work on some scapular glides real quick. So bring the balls up like in a V overhead, palms flat on the ground, bouncing on the balls. The balls are like your wheels, you get to roll on them. So we're gonna work on sliding our scapula up towards our ears and sliding our scapula down towards our shoulders. Shoulder blades, getting to understand just the way our shoulder blades move. So when you're lying on your stomach, if you can keep your belly button drawing in, tailbone tucking under, that'll protect your low back. So you want to feel your shoulder blades gliding up towards your ears and the balls are rolling away. And then your shoulder blades glide down like you're sticking them in your pants pockets.
Try not to bend your elbows.
Try not to bend your elbows. Yep, just sliding up, sliding down. So your spine doesn't have to move on this. So let's keep our spines quiet. Let's keep our belly drawing in and our low back relaxed. And just get that feeling of shoulder blades gliding up, shoulder blades gliding down. Good. And then go out to a wide T. What's your name? I don't know how to do this if you're stuck against the wall. Because you can't really glide on your elbow. But you can do it from your elbow. So I just want to do a little bit of abduction and abduction. So sliding the arms out and then sliding the shoulder blades together in the back. So you can just do it, Evans, probably with bent elbows and just squeezing together and then widening down like both those arms. If you don't have the room because of the wall, you're good. Slide out, squeeze the shoulder blades together in the back. Good. Slide them away from each other, squeeze them together. We're just getting some joint motion in our shoulder blades because we're about to work them. Good. So feel what it feels like to squeeze the shoulder blades together, because we're going to be doing a lot of that, so I want you to be familiar with it. And then widen them out. Good. Last one. Enjoy the peace. Relax. We're just sliding shoulder blades. Good. All right, so for the next ones, we're going to do some lift-offs and some swimmers. I like to have your forehead in the floor because I feel like when we have our forehead down in our floor, our neck's in a little bit of flexion, and it's going to help us really isolate through the shoulders. So you're going to have your balls in your hands, and you're going to bring them to your low back. Now this is your internal rotation. I'm going to stand and show you. But wherever your internal rotation is, maybe you're down here. Maybe you're over here. That's okay. Maybe you're here. Maybe you're here. But if you're here, are you here because you did this? Or are you here like this? So everyone, drive your shoulder blades together in the back. Pull your elbows up towards the ceiling. Oh, get ahead of me. You're going to be tired. Not ready to work yet. Keep them resting on the back of your bum, like this, ladies. Look, yeah, everyone see where I'm at? So we're finding where we're going to be for internal rotation, whether it's on the back of your tailbone, but we are squeezing the shoulder blades together and trying to lift the elbows up. Now, hover the hands off the back, hold, set down soft. If you can't lift them at all, maybe you need to lower them just a little bit so we can get some. Good. Maybe it's just conceptual. You can slide a piece of paper underneath. Lift, hold, set down soft. Good. So it helps. Yeah. And one more time. Lift, hold, stay. Now we're going to straighten the elbows, keeping the elbows where they are. Straighten them as much as you can. Good. Now start to rotate. This is kind of like our cars. Start rotating them and bring them out to the side. Squeezing those shoulder blades together in the back. Keep them squeezing, and then they're coming up overhead. Like a high V. Keep squeezing those shoulder blades together in the back. Then bend the elbows, bring the balls behind the head, or maybe to the top of the head, wherever your range is, and rest. Good, you got it. You guys look good. So when we finish, we're here. Okay, you can't see me yet. Wish I could be underground. Okay. So the balls are at the back of the head. Maybe they're on top of the head. You got to be where your range of motion is. We're not working on elbow range of motion though, so we're working on shoulders. Good. So if you don't have to be on your neck, that's just more elbow stuff. If you can bring them out to the back of your head, you're gonna be better, like a diamond shape, right? Now squeeze your elbows open. Now lift, hover off the head, just a little. Don't let your head lift. Set down soft, or you'll lock yourself in the head. Good. So the hands should be in a here. Good. Okay. So hover, hold, squeeze the elbows up, squeeze the shoulder blades together, hold it, set down soft. Relax. Again, elbows open, squeeze shoulder blades together, lift, hold. Now keep them up and start to open the arms into that V. So right now we're rotating. Now we're going to start rotating as the shoulder blades glide down our back, like you're doing the breaststroke almost. But keep those shoulder blades squeezing together. Keep squeezing the ball. Coming all the way down so you can't go any further. Then hinge at the elbow and set down soft. Woo. Okay. Relax. Take a break. Those are the shoulder swimmers. I would love for you to investigate those further at home and do them. We're not going to go through too many sets because I want to show you all some different things. But you can do those in multiple directions. But just working on that internal, external rotation, really good to do at home. Yeah, spend time with it. So coming into some hip extension stuff, we're going to bring the ball. We have one ball behind our right knee. So you can put your hands underneath your forehead and rest there if that's going to kind of relax your upper back. We want the knee right in line with the hip.
Does anyone need a different ball, bigger ball?
If you need a bigger ball, I have bigger, squishier green ones. But otherwise, I'm hoping for some cramps. I don't know what's happening with you guys. Are awesome. All right, so squeeze the ball with your calf into your hamstring. So squeeze. Make sure that your knee's lined up right with your hip. So I don't want your knee out to the side yet. Good. Now engage belly. Draw pubic bone up. And then try to hover that knee off the floor. Woo! And set down soft.
I feel a cramp coming.
No. You're just trying to make me smile. All right. So squeeze the ball, hover the knee. Don't let the pubic bone lift up, right? So that pubic bone needs to stay grounded. Just lifting from the hamstring and the base of the, oh yes. And relax. Cramps are your brain and your body communicating in a new way. Yeah, is that the opposite one? Yeah. Good, relax. So we're doing 3, set down soft. And you can hold these on your own as long as you want at home and, mess with it. You're not going to hurt yourself. So lift up, hold. Now keep that and see, and this is a super brain teaser, if you can do a little bit of internal and external rotation by windshield wipering the foot. So the knee needs to stay where it is. So the knee will stay in line with the hip, but the foot will move out and in. So a little bit, it's not going to be a lot, and maybe you just have a slice of paper underneath your knee. Not moving the ankle. The ankle doesn't need to do anything.
But we're still lifted.
You're lifted, just a little. Good, internal, external rotation. Keep those hip bones grounded. Nice job.
So is the knee on the floor?
No, it's covered if it can be. I said it's consensual. I said it could be consensual. It could be a slice of paper. Yeah. Woo! Okay, let's switch legs.
Don't worry, Claire, my knee's usually on the floor as well.
Oh no, mine's on the floor. It's like I said, it's like a slip of paper is underneath it. So it's all depends, and everybody's different. Like some people have a ton of hip extension. Good for them. I don't. Some people have more hip flexion. That's awesome. Maybe they need to work on hip extension more. So everyone's different. This is all about understanding your own body and figuring out where you need to work. If you only have a tiny slice of paper, this might be something that will help. So first lifts. So squeeze the ball, get the hamstring and calf on board. That's a big piece. Then hover the knee. So is your low back moving? You need to pin your pubic bone down. Draw your belly in. I'd rather see less, and then sit down soft. I'd rather see less range in the hip, not moving in the low back. Yeah, we got another cramp. All right, good. So squeeze and hover. Belly's drawing in, breathing. Don't forget your breath. And sit down soft. What we're trying to do is build that connection. So you need to feel what's going on back there. And when you feel like you've felt it or you get a cramp, then you can sit down soft. Good. And then we'll do one more, and this one we're gonna stay up for and work on some internal and external rotation. So keep squeezing that ball, don't give up on it. Maybe you don't go as high, but you're still squeezing your ball. I'd rather see that. Good, just a little, pointing the knee to the outside, pointing the knee to the inside. Nice job. And relax. Woo. You're gonna feel some new things tomorrow, so that's good. Totally. Okay, let's come into a child's pose real fast, and in case we were using our low backs a little for that. Give it a break. Breathe into your belly. Allow your tailbone to drop down and be heavy. Allow your head to hang. Inhale. Using that inhale breath to create more space in between the lumbar vertebrae. Feeling grateful for all the things that your body can do. And for how adaptable our bodies are and how much we can still keep growing and changing. And then we are going to come into a squat. And that abruptly. So if you don't like squatting, or your body doesn't like squatting, you can prop yourself up on blocks. So get yourself in a comfortable squat, whether you're on blocks, whether your heels are elevated. I have some pads for heels, if your heels don't like to sit down. Yeah.
Does anybody need more than one block
We have mega block.
to stay in a squat?
We're gonna squeeze down. So, squat. If the heels are up and you don't like them up, you can, if that's helpful. You can sit there and hang in them. No, because then your ankles are hanging. Okay, good.
You can also roll up your mat and like stand on the edge of your mat.
So we want to release wide as our knees. So, yeah, so they're right underneath the shoulders. Good.
All right, you not get your heels down.
What's that?
Can you not get your heels down?
You can rest them on blocks like April. Here you go. So we're going to be here for just a little bit, so. Not too long. Alright. So I have to put squat in because squat is really just such a vital movement in our world and our lives. So even if you don't have a squat right now, working towards it is extremely beneficial. Find some mundane task that you can do in a squat and try to stay there. So knees are out, belly's drawing in, and we're going to do 3 kinetic stretches of squatting. So we're going to try to use everything as we squat. So press, rocking into the front, you're going to feel the front of your shins in your squat, right? Start pressing through your feet, leaning forward if you need to, slow, 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 standing all the way up tall. Nice, sometimes I hug a block and cry, that's fun too. So keep squeezing or praying, knees open, tailbone's dropping down. And what I want you to feel as you're lowering into your squat is that you're not just dropping, that you're using all that stuff we just woke up, all that hip flexion, but you feel like you're pulling that up into your shoulders, pulling your knees in towards your chest, pulling as you slowly, slowly, slowly come back to it. Holding here, breathing, back up, exhale, press through the feet, press through the front of the ankles, feel the knees, feel the shins, feel the hips. Up tall, straighten the legs, squeeze them straight, feel it all. Bend, pull the knees to the chest. Feel everything coming together in the front. The lowering is just as important as the lifting. Come down, hold, one more, inhale, exhale, engage, push through the feet, push through the shins, slower, 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 push through the knees. Squeeze everything, straighten up. Feel it all. Draw in, inhale, exhale, bend. Pull the knees to the chest. Feel everything coming into the center, right? We're not just lowering, we're using it, we're working hard, we're pulling. Hold. Knees come to the elbows come to the inside of knees. Let the tailbone drop. Start squeezing the knees into the elbows. Feel the knees pushing the elbows in, breathing. Filling your belly with air, pelvic floor is working. abs are working. We're breathing, we're squeezing the elbows as hard as we can now. We're ramped up, trying to get to 50 to 60% right now. Squeeze harder, breathe. Chest is open. Freeze. Now open the knees away from the elbows. Pull. Pull them out. Pull them out. Harder. One more time. Breathe. Now straighten. Now straighten. Use all that outside stuff. Use it all. Use it all. Woo! Nice job. Back down and we're done. Open knees out. Use all that new stuff. Slower. Pull your knees to your chest. Pull your chest towards your knees. Feel those hip flexion muscles in there. Oh, nice job. Okay. Good work. So we're coming into bear sit, but just for a half a heartbeat. So, just so that we can get the right position. So we're going to go from bear sit to 90-90. So those of you who know 90-90 and know what props you need to be there, you can get there. So from here, we're going to transition. So I want you, here we go, it's more crampy. So pressing down through your right foot, you're going to think about lifting your left heel and pivoting it out. And then folding that knee in as much as you can. And then when you can't go any further, you can allow yourself, so you're going to have to reposition so that you can be, on a mat. Good. So this should get us right into 90-90. So when we talk about 90-90, we have a 90-degree angle at the hip, 90-degree angle at the knee. Back knee is also 90. Good. So from here, we're going to work on just feeling, so we all know a pigeon stretch, right? So this is kind of like pigeon, but we're going to start to find it. So you want to send that back sits bone. So the front leg is your lead leg, right? Let's think about the sits bone on the lead leg, and we want to reach it back, almost getting an arch into your low spine. As we hinge forward, keeping the chest open. So use your hands as you need to, keep the collarbone lifted. Yeah. Collarbone lifted, sits bone driving back as you start getting yourself into that stretch. Let's hold it there for just a minute. Breathing into it. So it's not a passive stretch, and we don't want to be rounded in our upper spine. We want to be actively pressing this front knee into the ground. So anyone whose knee is not touching the ground in the front and cannot actively press, grab a ball, regular ball, and press that front knee into the ground, into the ball, and breathe. So this is what we want to get out of the stretch, is an active stretch where we're pressing down. And now use that front knee to press you up. So you're going to push the knee into the ground, and that's what's going to lift you back up. And we're just going to do two more like that. So arms out, reach your chest forward, come back into the stretch maybe a little further, freeze, hold it, press the knee into the floor, lift the chest. So the knee is what's bringing the chest up. Yeah, you can be here. So hinging forward, hinging, press the knee into the floor first, feel that activate in the hip, then lift yourself up using that. Good. Kickstand your elbow out to the side. So you're going to be out to the side. We're going to work on some of that internal rotation that we just earned. So make sure that your elbow is even with your hip as you come out here. So this elbow's on the ground. You're level with your hip. And you're going to work on internal rotation. Don't move your back knee, but try to lift the foot. Okay. Good. So those of you who just saw their front knee pop up, where's your ball? Relax back, grab your ball. Put it under that front knee. I think you're okay. I'm just grabbing everyone's balls. I'm horrible. All right. Okay, so front knee pressing down, and then start doing some hinges with that back knee. So you're lifting the foot to the sky. Active internal rotation hinges. Is your chest wanting to round forward? Don't let it. Okay, keep your chest tall and open. Yeah, the back leg. Internal rotation, but don't give up. So that front knee, you notice how as soon as you want to go lift that back knee, the front knee wants to lift up. So you're going to keep working that front knee down to the floor in external rotation as you start hinging the back knee into internal rotation. Nice, you just earned that. You worked on it, you found it, it's yours, you can move it. Good, so now, whole leg, first we're gonna lift the foot, like you just were, but now see if you can lift the whole leg up and keep the foot reaching back, and then we're gonna hinge it out, straightening it. And then hinge it back, but the knee doesn't get to move. So the knee's gonna stay in line, and then hinging. So the whole back of the leg should be active right now. Good. A few more, like going for 5. Hinge. And last one. And then set it down. Good. So now we're gonna transition, so come back up off your hip. We're going to transition through the bear sit again and go to the other side. So here's okay. So back leg, trail leg first, right? You're going to get up onto your toe. If you can do this with no hands too, it's going to make it even harder. You're going to try to lift that knee up. Don't move anything else. Don't let your pelvis move. Try to pivot that heel in. Keep opening that hip as much as you can. Don't let the other knee lift until you absolutely have to. You'll find yourself back through bear sit. Then we'll go to the other side. So the other side's the same thing. I'll walk you through it. You're going to lift that opposite heel up. Those of you who hate me can just get there. And then rotate the knee down as much as you possibly can. Keep internally rotating. Use that active internal rotation. And then when you can't go anymore, you can just switch. And you should find yourself right in your 90-90 on the other side. And then if you have to move, because you're kissing your neighbors, and then you go first. Good. So we're on that other side now. We're making sure that the knees lined up right in front of the pelvis. Trail leg in line. And first we're going to bow that stretch. So you're looking a little wonky. So there you go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, just make sure you're going in the angle of your front leg. So you're gonna find yourself moving straight over that front leg. So start sending that sit bone back, opening the chest, and bowing into that stretch. So feeling the chest opening, sticking the sits bone on that lead leg back. So it's almost as if you're trying to, remember when we did the lumbar stuff, and we were cat-cowing our tailbone? We want to do a cow your tailbone. That makes sense? So send the sits bones back, open your chest, hinge the belly button over that knee. Breathe into it, holding the stretch. So notice if you're active in that front knee. Can you push the knee into the floor? Can you activate all that hip stuff in that front leg? And imagine that you're trying to press that front knee and leg into the ground as hard as you can. Or just don't imagine it and do it. Good. So now, engaging into the floor from that front knee, start to lift using that leg. So it's actually that front leg that is lifting you up. So you're hinging, pressing the leg into the ground to lift your chest up. Good. Hinging forward, open chest, get into that stretch point, and push the floor away and drive yourself back up tall. Let's do one more. Hinge forward, chest open, drive the knee into the floor to lift up. Nice. Okay, back leg. So ball handy underneath that front, and then we kickstand out to the side. Did I skip something? Okay. So elbow right outside of the hip. Knee in line. So notice if you go trying to internally rotate that back leg, if that front knee wants to pop up. So you need something under there to stay active. And notice how much harder it is, right? So really drive that front knee. If you didn't get something under your knee last time, definitely get it this time. Good. So just, little hinge rotations, driving my hand. Push. Now lift. Yeah. Good. So that bottom knee, press it down, work it hard. Then internally rotate that back leg. Notice all the stuff in your core that's going on to help you internally rotate, right? Like these muscles attached to our spine. These are so important. Keep the knee down and just internally rotate. We'll do a couple more. One more. Hold it up there. Hold it up there. And now we're going to lift the whole leg up. Just hip level, just a little bit. And then work on your hinges. So hinge open, but don't let that knee move. And every time you hinge back, reach back a little bit further. Keep the back of the leg active. Glute should be active. Foot is pointing forward. So if your foot wants to rotate down or in, that means more than likely your whole leg is rotating. So good. Now hinge. Now hinge. There you go. Good. So when you extend in that hinge, straighten that leg. Work it. Bend it back. Remember, you're moving through that thick peanut butter. Nice job. Set it down. We're going to transition together if you like. So from here, transitioning, we come up tall if we can. Use no arms if you need them. You can use them. But taking that trail leg, so lifting the heel first. Yep, then staying on the toe as you open the knee. Driving that knee towards your belly, really into the armpit. Open, open, don't let that other knee come until it absolutely has to. And then we finish in bear sit. Nice work. So, let's see. We did pretty good. So, I wanted you all to have my password for the website. It's on my personal website. If you go to resources and there's a link in the email, it'll take you to my video library, and the password for that is FINE, F-I-N-E, time, T-I-M-E. And so there's the 20-minute cards routine on there without the new stuff, but I'll probably add it pretty soon. And then as a bonus, all my myofascial release stuff is in there too. So you're welcome to look at those videos and use them. There's a lot of roller and ball stuff that I use for my other workshops. So it's all on the same website, so y'all are welcome to share in that knowledge. And Lisa is going to be teaching some Kinstretch classes here very shortly. So you can stay in touch with her about that. And I just want to thank y'all for coming. I had so much fun teaching it in the space in Norfolk. We need a group picture. We need a group picture, so if you can stick around for that, I would greatly appreciate it. And let me know if you have any questions or feedback. I'm open and happy to receive any feedback at all.
Okay,
So someone for coming.
for a picture, let's go over there. She told me to make sure we get a picture.
I did.
Oh my
I
God.
remembered it. Doesn't it? It doesn't. I know. I could have kept going, but I saw that. I better stop. And I finished everything on my sheet too.
Okay, I in the middle.
Right in the middle.
So like Michelle, you're like the end where you are.
Do you want that thing
So
about
let's do this. What?
the thing about people's neck?
We can do some front people.
I can't do anything.
Actually,
I'm seeing her.
Actually, I
Make
just
sure
want to say,
make sure it's not figures.
these windows are really bad. Let's go over there. Taking the light here. She's like, okay. Better? Eye in the middle.
Oh, you want us over there?
Eye in the middle. There you go. Hands in a good spot on the end there. Good, click perfect. Good job, you. Good job. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you guys.
Why don't you, it's on okay, but if you want to be on my email list,
Happy birthday!
I'll put the note.
Oh, yeah, we don't, we're home in 5 minutes with our. Do you want to answer whatever?
Well, Andrew's gonna